we're back for part 2.
Welcome to part 2!
Where we interview the hardcore closer. Hopefully you've listened to part 1. If you haven't, make sure you go back to last week and listen to the first episode of this 2-part series, because you're not going to want to miss it. It was fantastic, and then there's just more great content to come.
All right, so before we get back into this, let me just refresh you. Ryan Stewman, great friend of mine. This guy is incredible. He's known as the hardcore closer. He's a best-selling author, podcaster, blogger, and he consults with some really, really awesome entrepreneurs and business owners to help them develop their sales, their copywriting, their marketing, really build their businesses, but not just build their businesses, build themselves and build their lifestyle. So let's get right back into it.
Sounds good.
You mentioned father. You've got an amazing family. You've got a baby. You've got some great boys. And I'll tell you, I mean, first of all, kudos to you. You're a great father. You're a great dad. You are great in your family. How does that play into the business? Because you put that first, and I totally understand. I get that. I'm a father. I've adopted my kids. I know you have adopted, one of your boys. And how does that play into success?
Well, as a family man in general, and men, I'm talking to you. If you can't lead your spouse, because your spouse knows everything, your kids know everything. My kids have seen me blow up. My kids have seen me throw up. My kids have seen me lose my shit, get my shit together. They watch my routine. They see like I am their leader. I got to be the example for them. Same with my wife, right? They know me at my worst. So even at my worst, I still got to be the greatest version of myself around them. And does that mean I'm perfect? You can clearly tell from this episode I am far from that, right? However, I set an example this morning. My 5-year-old, he walks in, he's going to school. He walks in, says, "Bye, Dad, I love you." And he said, "I can't wait till I grow up and I go to the gym and run a business like you." You know, at 5 years old, he's got it. My 10-year-old's already got $1 billion idea. Like, and it's a legitimate, we are working to make it a reality. Like, he's already been dialed in, because I'm raising the future. Because if I raise 3 kids that are spoiled, right, and 3 kids that don't have a work ethic, then it didn't do me any good to do all this stuff. I got to be the example for my sons and my daughter and my wife, just like I have to be the example for my employees, my friends, and my clients. And one of the big goals, parents, that I can tell you is I speak over my kids. Jackson's an entrepreneur. Asher is an analytical genius, right? He's got dyslexia and he can still read. Even though he's 9 years old, he's got dyslexia so bad he can still read, and he's super smart, man. He's one of the smartest kids I ever met. He's going to be able to run all the operations for all of my stuff. I already know that. My youngest will probably end up going to college. He'll probably be the only one that goes to college so that he can go on to be a politician. He's that kind of person. My daughter, listen, ladies, did you know that women haven't invented anything new in like 4 decades? I know it's crazy to say, Google it, I'm not lying. And so my daughter, I'm speaking, hey, because guys, it's a crazy story. But the short of it, there were some beautiful women a beautiful woman like Kim Kardashian, beautiful, like whether you think Kim's beautiful or not, I'm talking about of that popularity, named Hedy Lamarr, created GPS in the 40s. Right? GPS in the 40s. Nobody gave a damn because she was beautiful. They were all too busy trying to chase her to get laid. And I think like this is a true story. And I think over the years, they just like women stopped inventing stuff because it didn't do any good. So 4 decades, a woman hasn't invented anything new. Now there's women that have created new things like new clothing lines and stuff, but nothing new. So I've been speaking over my daughter that you get to be the woman that comes along and changes humanity with your invention. I've been speaking that over since she was born, right? And saying these things like Colton knows he's going to grow up and he's going to run the world, right? She knows she's going to grow up and invent stuff. Jackson knows he's going to take over my companies. Asher knows he's going to run the stuff on the back end and take over my companies too. Like we have a plan. Just like back in the day, if I was a farmer and I had my kids on the farm, they would know that, Jackson's going to take over the farm. Asher's going to take over the tractors. She's going to take over milking the cows. We got the same scenario in our family business now. It's just not a ranch. It's an enterprise,
Let me ask you I want to talk to you about systems and habits real quick, because you are a man of systems and habits. You are, I don't want to say somebody is predictable, but they're reliable in everything that they do and how they do it. I mean, the consistency that you put into your copywriting, your video delivery, your even just dialing, picking up the phone and calling customers and things like that. Tell me about what do those two words, consistency and systems, mean to you, or habits and systems mean to you?
Well, I don't believe in quitting. So once I start something, I just don't stop. I started writing Facebook posts in 2008, one a day. I just never quit. When I started doing blog posts once a week, I never stopped. When I started doing podcasts once a day, I just never stopped. And I have my podcast, for example, in 3 or 4 days, it'll be episode 1000. So that's how long I've been doing this, right? Like you have to like wrap your head around how many episodes that is there's like maybe 15 or 20 podcasts that have 1,000 episodes, and I'm about to be one of them, right? Like we're talking about of 700,000 podcasts, there's maybe 15 or 20 that have that many episodes. I've been doing it since 2011, by the way, right? Consistently since 2011. I didn't even know they were podcasts. We just called it an internet radio show. So, but I have 3 million monthly listeners. So it's paid off. But 2.9 million of those listeners didn't show up until 3 years ago. So if you do the math, that's like 8 years that I did the shit for basically nobody. And then all of a sudden it picked up. But that's why I don't quit. That's just another example of why I stay consistent. Because during those 8 years, do you know how many times I wanted to quit? Every motherfucking day. Every day. Every day. Why do I got to do this podcast? Nobody's listening to it. Why would I do this? Nobody's listening to it. What is the point of this? Nobody cares. 8 years later, I don't know, Oprah or somebody shared it, I guess. I don't know. But all of a sudden, people started listening to it. And they haven't stopped. And then they've gone back and listened to the past episodes and stuff. And had I not created those, they maybe would have came and listened to 2 or 3 episodes and then bounced and forgot all about me. But instead, I've got years worth of content. You can't escape me once I got you on my web, you know? And that's the thing is like consistency is a part of that. You know, every day when I go to the gym, and every day when I get to the gym, I go in the parking lot and I write my Facebook post before I go in the gym. I don't sit there and scroll my phone while I'm working out. I don't have time for that. I'm in there to work out. But I do write my Facebook post consistently every morning before I walk into the gym, right? And as far as like the other thing that I'm the most consistent with is I said earlier, like God holds me accountable, but the truth is God's not breathing over my shoulder going, hey, dude, you doing the work today, right? Like we're all human beings here. So this will work well for you entrepreneurs out there. My calendar is my boss. So whatever's on my calendar for the day, that's telling me what to do. At this time, you do this. See, oftentimes we say we have a to-do list, but we don't assign a time limit to it. We say, oh, I'll just check the easy shit off and damn it, now I'm to the hard stuff. I guess I'll do it, blah, blah, blah. No. At 8 to 8:15, your ass got to write the emails, right? At 9 to 9:30, you got to write the blog post, right? At 10 o'clock, you got to be on the podcast with Adam Contos for an hour, right? At 11 o'clock, you got a customer sitting right outside your office that signed up for their day long with you that you've got lunch and afternoon planning session with. Like that schedule is my boss. Every day I wake up and I don't have anybody to ask, hey, what do I need to do today? I just look at my calendar. It's like, here's the stuff you need to do in the time frame that you need to do it. If you can't do it in that time frame, you're screwing up because we set up the right time frame for you to be there. So I expect all this stuff to be done, and I don't go home till everything on that calendar is done.
You are one of the best marketers I've ever met. I mean, truly one of the best. And you've built a marketing platform, a lead generation platform called Phone Sites. I want to hear briefly about that. But tell me about getting people's attention and getting them engaged. Those two things, and how does like Phone Sites play into this? How do your businesses play into that? Because ultimately, if somebody's not interested in you, they're not going to engage with you for business.
That's the world we live in these days. You know, in my personal opinion, it is unprofessional to cold call, spam text, or cold DM somebody in the social media, right? Like it's highly unlikely, not impossible, but highly unlikely that someone's just minding their own business and you just randomly show up in their life and you're going to sell them something, right? And there's a lot of stress and resistance in selling that way. Instead, the key to marketing is, first of all, finding exactly who you want to do business with, right? I can't do business with people that work at the car wash. They like, for example, they can't afford my services. So if I was still talking in car wash language, then I wonder why all these people that are making minimum wage keep showing up that I can't do business with, and why the real people aren't showing up. So first of all, I got to learn the language of the audience, okay? So who's the audience and what's their language? And then then authentically communicating with them your story, your services, your help, but in their language. Okay, so like if I'm a salesman, if I'm going to go sell to people in China, I'm going to go and I'm going to learn Mandarin and I'm going to go sell to them in Chinese. I'm not going to try to sell to them in English. So it's the same thing with your people here. And if you can get that piece down, then that's what happens is it not overnight, but over time, it creates an attraction marketing system. And what you want, and this is a power move and it takes time, but what you want is people to show up in your DMs saying things like, what do you do for a living? Or I really like your posts or blah, blah, blah. And that gives you an opportunity to tell them, hey, thank you. I'd love to talk to you and see if maybe I can help you or whatever. And then you got inbound leads instead of you spamming and trying to distract people. Changes the game.
Ryan, that reminds me of one of my favorite Nelson Mandela quotes. He said, if you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his own language, that goes to his heart.
Yep.
And
that's good. Yep.
It's incredible when you think about that. I mean, that right there, marketing masterclass from the marketing master. All right, so we turn this into a lead. What do we do with our leads? I mean, you've got a program that helps with that. Okay, we get people's attention, or we want to get their attention. Now we need to continue to talk to them in their language, right? And how do we turn this into business?
So, businesses, I don't care what you are in the business of, you're in the business of collecting data these days. Data is the biggest asset that you can have. When you go sell your company, they don't care how many homes you sold. They care how many home buyers are in your database. That's what they are basing things on. Agents come and go, home buyers come and go, but do you have data that they can market and monetize, right? And so data is actually, even today, still more valuable than oil. Which is the most valuable resource. The reason why is data is more valuable. It's infinitely valuable. You pull oil out of the ground, burn it in gasoline, it's gone forever. Data, you can monetize it over and over and over and over and over again. So if you own a business right now or you're in sales, you need to be collecting data. You need to be collecting the information of the people that you do business with and people that you want to do business with. Our program, Phone Sites, is a software. It's an enterprise software that builds websites on your behalf, like the easiest templates you ever seen. It writes great copy, my style copy, which is, like Adam said, some of the best in the world. I have artificial intelligence where you can plug in a few keywords and it'll write a whole ass sales page that looks like I wrote it. Like, it is amazing technology. Then we have follow-up systems. So basically we can put your entire sales life on autopilot for like $50 a month. And that's the future, is attracting people on social media, keeping their data, communicating with them on autopilot until they're ready to open their wallet and pay you. And you might think that sounds absolutely crazy. Who's going to fall for that? We do 8, almost 9 figures a year in that right now. That same exact process from just 8 figures alone, just from Facebook every year.
This has been an incredible. I mean, it's been great for our audience to get to know you. I mean, I loved having you on here. It's just great to see you again, my friend. And I do have a question that I ask everybody that's on this show, and that is, Ryan, how do you start your day with a win?
Easy. So I have an app that I use called the G Code. You can go to gcodechallenge.com. It's a free app. And the first thing I do every morning when I wake up is you have to get 4 points a day. And the way that you get the first point of the day is writing and journaling 5 things that you're grateful for. So the first thing that I do is I start my day, wake up, pull my phone, pull that app up while I'm still laying in bed, and I write 5 things that I'm grateful for. And that goes ahead and puts a point into my deal. I get 4 points a day. Listen, you want to hear consistency, Adam, right? 3,270 points, 4 points a day, right? 3,270 points. Let's do this. I can just tell from the app here. That is 987 days. I'm almost 1,000 days of doing this, man. It is ingrained into my head. But like this morning, I'm thankful for phones, right? Because I had to make some calls today that are going to make me some big money. I'm thankful for God. I'm thankful for water, right? That's one of the things I'm grateful for. I was thirsty this morning. I had a whole bunch of hydration. I'm thankful for my family and my kids. And I'm thankful for my life. Like, these are just like 5 simple things that I woke up this morning and I'm grateful for, but that gives me point number 1. Then I take my ass to the gym. That gives me point number 2, right? So I'm halfway through my point system for the day. But man, that is, I got I track wins daily, right? It's funny that you asked me that because I literally am tracking 4 wins guaranteed a day.
Awesome. Ryan Stewman, a hardcore closer, a great friend, just an incredible human being, somebody who's out there every day making life better for so many, and starting with a win. Thank you, Ryan, my friend, my brother, for being on Start With a Win. We will see you next time.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, that's right. But hey, if you're ready to create personal business success, make sure to head over to startwithawin.com. You can find a lot more great content there. You can connect with Adam. You can also find places to order the book, Start With a Win. And, until next time, remember, start with a win.
Dude, that was intense. Thank you so much for sharing that
Awesome,
with
man. I'm
us.
glad you liked it.
Yeah, that was great.
I'm glad you enjoed it.
We got producer Mark back on the
Yeah,
wire here.
Ryan, I have a question for you. I don't know how old you are, but I feel like, a lot of times people wait so long in order to make changes in their life. I mean, what is your advice or thoughts to some of those people maybe who are in their 50s, their 60s? Like you were a young guy, 60s, 70s. You're a young guy. You made maybe, a lot of mistakes when you were younger, and then you got back on track and had some runway to kind of make things happen. I mean, what's your advice for that?
Well, I'm 42 and about to be 43 this year. And, I actually made a video on YouTube. It's like, if I could talk to my younger version of myself, but even the older version of yourself, it's like this, like, I think it's an old Chinese proverb. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. And, it's the time to do anything is like, okay, you waited this long. What the hell are you waiting for? Right? Like you've waited long enough. What are you waiting for at this point? Right? The wait has not paid off. So literally, what are you waiting for? You know what I mean? So like if you're already to that point, like I said, you missed the last 20 years, don't miss the next 20. Even if you think, oh shit, I only got 10 years left, don't miss those 10. The hell do you want to spend 10 miserable years when you could be the 10 best years of your life,
Yeah, that is very strong. Well, hey, thanks so much for getting on here and getting everybody hyped. I'm sure that everyone who's going to listen to this is super stoked. And, a lot of times we just need to kick in the butt to get things, started and moving. So we really appreciate you being on the show and spending time hanging out with us. So
Thanks a lot, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks for having me, fellas.
all right. Hey, thanks guys for sticking around for the show after the show. And until next time, remember, start with a win.